This time on One Foot Flipper, we talk about those people who tell you everything that you want to hear. Stay tuned.
One Foot Flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the One Foot Flipper. How's everybody doing? I'm doing okay. As of this recording, it's December 15th, 2023. And today I think we're going to talk about being careful around anyone who tells you exactly what you want to hear. Oh, before we get into that though, I'm going to shout out my newest channel member, Bob Coleman. Bob, thanks for your support. But anybody who tells you exactly what you want to hear, you should be wary of. Whether this is in real life, your neighbor down the street, that Ethiopian prince who emailed you, your cheating girlfriend, that beautiful Russian lady who wants to be friends with you on Facebook, car salesman, YouTube channels. Right now there's a lot of channels leveraging the eBay glitch idea to get monies and views. You know, oh, eBay glitches are why you're not getting sales. Problems with the search engine are why you're not getting sales. This idea and that idea that it's not their fault, it's eBay's fault. You know, they're telling these sellers with bad sales exactly what they want to hear. They're saying, yep, sellers, you're doing everything right. It's the fault of something beyond your control. Even when some of the ideas are ridiculous, particularly with anybody with any knowledge of computer systems, statistics, or customer buying patterns, some of those ideas don't hold up to even the smallest amount of scrutiny. At all. Your international shipping settings have nothing to do with whether or not somebody decides to buy a copy of Quigley Down Under that day. Nothing to do with it. There are no widespread reports of customers who come to eBay wanting to buy items and being unable to find items. It's just not out there. Yeah, every once in a while I see the little boy in the hoodie because the search engine broke for a second, but you know what? I search again and oh, it's right back up, isn't it? Now, in my work, I like to drop in and catch a lot of lives on YouTube, especially since for the last month or so, I've not actually wanted to make all that much more money for the year. I'm kind of want to punt some income to next quarter. So I've had a lot of time to drop in and catch a lot of lives. I don't even always talk in them. Sometimes I'll just listen while I work and not even say anything in the chat. And recently I've started checking out the stores of some of the people whose lives I've been watching. And what I've discovered, there are a lot of YouTubers out there doing the eBay glitch thing, the eBay search is broken thing. Oh, everybody's hurting. And they agree with every one of those ideas that come from their chat. Now, looking at these people's stores, some of them indeed have incredibly slow sell-through rates. And honestly, it's usually because of bad prices or bad items or no markdown schedule, price guessing. The same reasons why anybody has bad sales. It's why those people have bad sales. But some of these people are having zero problems whatsoever. They have sell-through rates that most people would kill for. The fact is, if everything you list on eBay sells within a matter of weeks, then you're not having any problems. But if you're leaning into that and giving that narrative to your viewers, you're doing it for viewers and subscribers. It's not because you actually believe it. You're just misleading your viewers. But you know what? It's a lot easier, isn't it? Why give your viewers good advice or research a decent video or teach them how to actually compete with you when it's much easier to repeat rumors, make them up yourselves, and say whatever your viewers want to hear instead of what they need to hear. And what a lot of them need to hear are some hard truths. Hey, Railroad Reseller, your store sucks. Everything you listed is double market price, and nobody's going to buy those pictures of trains that you cut out of magazines for $29.99 each. It's not going to happen, Railroad Reseller. You're not going to hear me telling the Railroad Reseller that nobody's buying those cut out pictures of trains because there's something wrong with the eBay search. No, it's because nobody wants them, or they're too expensive. There's a lot of hard truths out there. Like right now, Q4 2023, the reselling market has more sellers than it needs. Period. We can't affect the number of customers, but honestly, I can't affect the number of resellers either, but the number of resellers boomed during COVID because at that time, people had so much money and were ordering so much stuff off the internet. It was so easy. And we still haven't we're still coming down in the number of resellers from that all-time high, while the number of sales have dropped off faster than the number of resellers have dropped off. And until that equalizes, times are going to be tough. If you're watching this in the future, hopefully things have equalized and times are great again. Another hard truth is almost no scheme you can come up with in the world is going to successfully sell your items at well above market price. Doesn't matter what you do, no combination of promoted listings or sales or coupon codes, toggling your international shipping, none of the great titles, none of that is going to sell that item at well above market price. It's not going to happen. Not for normal people, selling in their basement, packing up things and having their dog carry them upstairs for them. That's not going to happen for us. Might happen to other people, but not for us. In fact, another hard truth is, usually when an item sells on eBay, it is the cheapest example of that item on eBay, at least for that condition, obviously. Condition can matter. But if a new copy of something sells, chances are it was the cheapest new copy on eBay, regardless of what promoted it, who sold it, or anything else. Hard truth. The number one most important factor in an item selling is the item price. If you don't believe me, go list a new game console for $50 below market. And it will sell in an hour with no promotions, just the one required photo, and no description. List it for $20 above market. Watch it never sell unless the market changes. Price is the number one. Everything else is second to price. Those juicy photos, those 24 juicy photos you took from every angle, with your beautiful photo station that you've got set up with your perfect white background and your ring light, and you've got your ferret operating the Lazy Susan turning everything around. That isn't going to matter when you list your item at $14 and then your potential customer sees the item on the same search result for $9. They're never even going to click on yours to see those beautiful ferret-generated pictures, are they? No, they're not. Promotions can work, but it's still quite rare that promotions will sell an item well above market price. Promotions just make market-priced items sell faster in flooded categories. And the exceptions to that are few and far between. Sometimes I've used promotions to basically turn an item into something else completely different. Like, I once had a M&M dispenser, the M&M guy sitting on an easy chair, and the item was terrible, had a terrible sell-through rate. It usually sold for about $2 above what it cost to ship. So I just named the guy something completely different, like King Candy sits upon his throne, perfect for the man cave, or something like that. And I promoted it like 15%, and I priced it like how I thought it should be priced, and it actually sold. But that doesn't always work, and it's not going to work for easy to search items. All right, another hard truth. Your reputation as a seller is meaningless overall for most sellers. Unless your sales are touched or affected by some sort of media presence or some sort of presence of you actually being a guru or a known factor in a large community, then it's not going to matter. I mean, really big YouTubers, yes, that's going to affect them. If you are, one of the most well-known person in the Magic the Gathering community for selling high-end cards, yes, your reputation is going to matter. But for most people, especially for everything sellers, not going to matter. You might think your item is better because you touched it or because you sourced the better items, but your customers don't think that. I mean, if you're very niche down into one hobby or area, then over the years you might actually get a small group of people who specifically browse your stores. But it's also just as likely that half of those people, they're just whales in that niche, and they're purchasing from everyone in it. So you think they're specifically coming back to you, but they're just finding you in search results over and over again. And another hard truth, some niches are in decline, and they're unlikely to ever come back. Now this, when I say the niche is in decline, usually doesn't affect the top end so terrible that, the top end of almost every category seems to just maintain value for the most part. There are exceptions, the top end Beanie Babies went to zero just like the rest of them. But for broader categories like the books, media, video games, stamps, coins, model trains, sewing related items, all those items are in decline. And I think long term, it's only the exceptional items in those spaces that are going to maintain consistent and high values. The rest of the stuff is trending downward. So there's still nothing wrong with these categories, but you don't want to sit on inventory in categories or price these categories up. Other than the highest end items in the category, those are more likely to maintain value over time. Oh, and when I say video games, I actually mean disc-based video games. I believe the cartridge-based video game market to be very good, stable, and likely to increase in value over the next 20 years. But the disc-based video game market is only going to go down. Another hard thing to understand is some business models don't work. Whether, as I recently saw on the eBay forums, somebody who painted 1,000 of their own abstract paintings and has them all on eBay and has only sold 5 ever. That business model obviously doesn't work because that artist isn't a known factor and the quality people are seeing isn't enough for them to want to purchase those paintings, so they don't purchase them. Or sometimes it's just some parts of the business model don't work and they're actually dragging the rest of the business down. This is usually going to take the form of items that combine low price and bad sell-through, or that are labor intensive for their value. This is one reason why I, as a former card specialist, say the low-end card business is bad overall. Most people just can't ship the things fast enough to make it worthwhile, and few customers on eBay will buy more than one card in a transaction. Now, that can be different on different platforms. The TCG platform, most sellers there give free shipping on orders over $5 or $10, and the customers there seem to understand that, and they'll frequently pad their orders out for free shipping. However, even then, it's extremely labor intensive. A friend I know who owns a card store, he makes it work he mostly specializes in the Dragon Ball game for TCG Player because it's not a huge pool of cards. And he keeps them all meticulously assorted so his employees can pull orders fast. But the more you scale that card business up, the longer it takes to pull each card. The card store I used to work at that sells the big 3, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon, it has 40 feet of card drawers, 4 feet tall. Millions of cards. And that's not even counting the sports cards. Imagine how long it takes to process an order of cheap cards there. Which is why they don't put cheap cards online in that store. All right, I guess that's what I've got for some hard truths. Since it's getting to be the end of the year, let's talk about my plans for next year, because this year is done as far as I'm concerned. As of the filming, there's 2 weeks left, probably be a week or so left by the time you see this, and I wouldn't care if I didn't sell a single item for the rest of the year. If anything, I'm stocking up on supplies to punt some income forward to next year. I might even load up some money into my account on Pirate Ship. That's a trick you can use. You can set your minimum Pirate Ship charge to an excessive amount of money, like $500 or $1,000. Do that right at the end of the year. Ship one item, and then you'll have $989 of credit on Pirate Ship, and you can put that $989 on the income That's an expense for this year because you spent it this year, and then you actually will use that credit next year. Next year, start of the year plan is I'm going to start up aggressive markdowns on nearly everything I have that isn't stored in the miniature drawers or the compact item bins. Basically, I want to sell through everything taking up space before garage sale season starts. So I can have space to bring in better inventory, actually maybe show some picking videos. I want to have a bunch of empty tubs and empty shelves when I go out for that first sale of the year. The only reason I'm not being aggressive about the tiny items is because they take up nearly no space. A little miniatures drawer, might have $1,000 worth of miniatures in it, and it's in less space than a $10 board game takes up. And I don't need to be aggressive on marking that stuff down. Financially, I do better not being aggressive on pricing that stuff down. All right, have I rambled long enough? Do you know anybody who is doing aggressive markdowns or perhaps has glitches in their store? If so, tell them about the channel. Hope to see you again soon.